Hi and welcome to another episode of Did You Know? In this episode, we're going to talk about the Unifi U6 In-Wall, otherwise known as the U6-IW unit, and that is a Wi-Fi 6 access point with a built-in PoE switch. Now, we'll dive right into it right after the unboxing. So what's in the box? Let's have a look. Open that right there. Okay, so in the box, nothing much in the front. Here you can see the U6-IW unit. It's quite small. If you look at that compared to my hand, that's the size of that. Okay, comes with a protective plastic wrapper. At the back you can see that that is actually a PoE in port. That means, folks, that you need to power this switch via a PoE switch that sends the PoE plus. All right, this is the unit that comes with it, and at the back, or rather at the bottom, you see that there are actually 4 RJ45 ports. Now these are 1 gigabit ports. Out of the 4, one of them is also a PoE out. Okay, so this is a PoE in that powers the switch, and this is one of these ports here is able to give PoE out. Now, what else is in the box? So in the box there's also this wall mount, and I'll show you how that works. You have a QR code to scan, and you've also got some mounting hardware right there. 4 screws and a little L-shaped tool to release the catch on the unit if you need to do some servicing. Okay. Now, a bit about the U6-IW. Let's have a look at the technical specs here. It is made of aluminium, at least the mount is made of aluminium. All right, and this is managed via the Ethernet as well as Bluetooth. Like I said before, there is a PoE in and there is also a PoE out, but to get the PoE out, you need to have a PoE switch. The max power consumption, excluding PoE out, is 13.5 watts. The max PoE wattage per port is 15.4 watts, and the voltage range is between 44 to 57 volts DC. Max TX power on 2.4 gig is 22, and on the 5 gigahertz band is 26. Now, interestingly about this unit here, it has MIMO, so there's, for the 2.4 gigahertz band, there's 2 times 2 MIMO, and on the 5 gigahertz band, there's actually 4 times 4. So that gives you, on the 2.4 gigahertz, a throughput rate of 573.5 megabits per second. That's for the 2.4 gigs, and on the 5 gigs, it goes up to 4.8 gigs. All right. The antenna gain is 2.4 gigahertz is 5 dBi, and for the 5 gigahertz band is 5.9 dBi. The operating temperature that's recommended for this guy is between negative 30 to 60 degrees Celsius, or for those of you that work in Fahrenheit, that's negative 22 to 140 Fahrenheit, with an operating humidity of between 5 to 95%, provided that's non-condensing. Now, Wi-Fi standards. The U6-IW has 802.11a, BG, Wi-Fi 4, Wi-Fi 5, as well as Wi-Fi 6. And for wireless security, you have WPA, PSK, WPA Enterprise, WPA, WPA2, and WPA3. Now, on the BSSID, you can go up to a maximum of 8 SSIDs per radio. So that means that's 8 SSIDs on 2.4 and 8 SSIDs on the 5 gigahertz band. The VLAN protocol is 802.1q, and you do also get advanced QoS with a per user rate limiting. This unit here supports up to 300 plus, over 300 concurrent clients, and there is also a zero weight DFS that is supported with the upcoming firmware that they've released. Now, data rates, like we talked about, there's 802.11a, there's 802.11b, G, N, AC, as well as the current AX, which is Wi-Fi 6. Right, so I've set up the camera so you can see a better angle. And what I'm going to do is just use a pry tool that I have. It's a little Gerber tool, but honestly you could use a flathead screwdriver, anything that has a little bit of leverage and a little bit of an angle here, right? So I'm using one of these guys here. And all I do is I'm going to press up against this faceplate here. I hope you can see it. And twist. And then just pull, and there you have it. The faceplate comes off. Now, if you look carefully at the keystone here, all you need to do is remove these two screws, and I'm going to try and do that while holding the camera for you guys. All right. So and that's two. Okay, so if I did that right, okay, this guy's a little stuck still, but that's fine. Okay, so let me just remove that. And the screws, obviously, you need to keep the screws, so don't lose them. All right. If your electrician or network engineer who installed the network point was worth his salt, hopefully it's not a blank spot here. You do have a junction box like this. All right, that's critical, otherwise you won't have a faceplate that looks like this. Now, you see this RJ45 port on the keystone, right? All you got to do is then remove the keystone from this faceplate. And to do that, again, there's a little catch here that you just press down on. And by doing so, you will release this entire keystone. I've got a tool that I just press, and look at that. It's out. So you have an empty faceplate here. Empty, you can see my finger, right? It's empty. And then the keystone is still here. Now, the fun stuff about this, you don't need this faceplate anymore, so you can actually keep it somewhere for storage. You also don't need this cover anymore. Why? Because the U6 is actually going to be the new cover. So, you see how you have a hole in the wall? Oops, let's try and get that focused now for you. You have the hole in the wall, yeah? And this can go all the way in, right? So instead of having to re-terminate this point, and to make it simple for most of you that want to DIY this at home, you may not have a cable crimper, you may not have the testing tool, you may not have the knowledge of how to do RJ45, stripping the cables and doing all that stuff, right? So who's got time for that? This is the fastest way. I bought a spare short RJ45 cable, and the one that I got is a Nico Max. It's a SFTP patch cord. It is a 6A, and this should be good for my purpose. So I'm going to use this cable, if you can imagine. I'm going to attach the head to the keystone here. I'll shove everything into the wall, and then I will use the provided mount from the U6 and install that mount, this one here. Let me just get it out for you. I'll install this mount over this guy, like this. Okay, well, something like that. And all the cables will shove in there, and the U6-IW will just sit where the faceplate is now. All right, so let me just show you exactly what I'm talking about. And that was, let me see, how long was this cable? 1/2 meter. All right, so it's a 1/2 meter cable that's going to go in. Now, I'm not going to shove the whole thing in yet. Remember the screws that we used and we got out from the points here and here, the junction box? We're going to use those screws back again, and we're going to screw back the new Unifi faceplate. So I'm gonna try and do this with one hand again. Alright, so I've got this guy in place. Not really important if the faceplate is level or not, but I do want to give a bit of space between the next power socket here and the mount. So I do try to keep it equidistant as far away as possible. Alright, and then let's just screw this bad boy in there. And likewise for this one. Okay, be careful when you're doing this not to strip your screwdriver. Okay, now you can see that's not coming off. It's only 2 screws. This aluminum, this plate here, this mount is fantastic. It's not going to come off, right? I think it is very securely fastened to the wall. I'm actually pulling with quite a fair bit of strength. It's not going to come out. All right, and this is a dry wall, so I'm not going to pull way too hard. Then the finishing touch is to install this guy. And all you got to do, let me figure out how am I going to, okay, so I'm going to pull out the back plastic first. I'll leave the front on. Again, I don't want to have smudges and touch the nice glossy surface, so I'll leave the front on, okay. And I'll also pull off the little flap at the back here at the bottom, just to prepare. So as you can see, the bottom's off, the top is off. The sides are still on here and here, all right, so that I don't dirty the thing. Now all I got to do is just plug in the RJ45, and now if I look carefully how this thing lines up, there are little prongs here and here, and that sits onto the base of the U6-IW. They've got little catches here. All right, so this tells me that the base, the bottom of this unit goes down first, followed by the top. So all I got to do is lift the flap on the bottom. I'm still holding the edges on the sides. All right, so I don't dirty it. Now hopefully you can see this. I've plugged it in, and you can see that there's a light blinking on the U6. That means that my PoE power is going in and it's working well, okay? So at this time I'm also going to tear off the side of the protective layer so that I don't get it caught, okay, here. And I'm just going to hold that in with the base facing down, and there. With that little click, oh, see, I did something silly. I didn't remove the side protector yet. So that's why it was a bit tough to get in. Oh, well, I might be able to, there we go. Might be able to just pull it off from the side. Well, lesson learned, remove both sides before you install this unit. So, as you can see, unit's powered up. The adoption light is on, which means it's ready to adopt. And all I got to do is go to my Unifi app now. So I'm going to my Unifi app, and instantly in the Unifi app, you do see that there is a U6 that's ready to be adopted. So all I got to do is hit adopt. Okay, now see that blue light? It means it's being adopted. Likewise on the app, it shows that it is being adopted. Hope you can see both the blue light here together with the, maybe that's easier for you to see. It's now blinking blue and yellow, which tells me it is adopted, and it's actually now the firmware is being updated. So automatically my dream machine, the SE version, adopted this U6-IW and automatically is updating it to the latest firmware. So I hope this tutorial was useful for you as you journey ahead and install more fun Unifi products and toys. I hope that you will share this content with your friends so that they will be able to also learn how to upgrade their single port RJ45 in the wall into something with 4 RJ45 ports with embedded Wi-Fi access point, which is even Wi-Fi 6. So that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks and have a nice day. Bye-bye.